So Battlestar Galactica, Hilo ended up being such a important emotional, like grounding character for not only the show but for the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to literally just get left on the planet and die, right?
100%.
So you get the part. What were you thinking about in that scene with Sharon? Because your acting choices, and I think it's also just who you are as a person, but like that scene that you did with Sharon, where Hilo gives up his seat.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone watching the miniseries, and I know this because it's the only thing I've ever really watched of Battlestar Galactica. I remember thinking, fuck no, not that guy. I love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
We can't lose that guy.
Don't let that guy die.
No, he's such a good guy.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose that guy.
Yeah. The world's going to end. We need that guy.
We need that guy. But that's what the whole audience felt.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about in that scene?
So little backstory in that scene. That was the scene that I auditioned for, right? That was the scene that I auditioned for. And I remember, I'm old enough that I remember the original Battlestar. I didn't have cable television as a kid, but they had Battlestar on CBC, the Canadian Public Broadcasting Corporation, that I watched. And I remember loving all sci-fi at the time, but I remember watching it and then getting the audition here in Vancouver. I started my career. I'd done a few things, bit parts. Things were starting to happen. I was starting to work. I was working, but not a ton.
Yeah.
But I was working, and I was very confident because of this school, because of the work that I was doing at the acting school, and I could just feel it too. Like I remember there was a couple guys I went to school with who were just far more talented than I was, Katee. They were just really good actors. But I was like, what can I do that would give me a step up on them? And I'm like, well, I can work out more. I can do more acting classes than them, and I can just work harder. And so I did. And it ended up working out for me. So I get this new agent. She's come to see one of my play performances. We would perform at the end of each scene study. We do basically like a play night. Every scene study, everybody performed their scene. So it was like a theater night. And it was just like people would come in town. And my teachers at the school had invited Deb Dillistone, who's still my agent to this day. And she was a big agent of Vancouver at the time. She's still a big agent, very well respected. They didn't tell me. And she saw my performance of doing, I did a scene of Mice and Men. And the next day they were like, hey, we invited Deb Dillistone to come watch your performance. And I was like, what? And
thank Christ they did not tell you.
Yeah, exactly, because they would have screwed me.
Oh, of course
they knew that, though. That was one of their things. So they're like, she wants to have a meeting with you. Had a meeting, told her my pitch. I'm like, I'm going to be successful in this business because I won't have it any other way. I'm going to work harder than any other actor you've worked with. And if you support me and we have a vision together and we work together, I was pretty confident at the time. We're going to do well. And so we get the Battlestar audition within a year of working with her.
Wow.
And I read the sides, Katee, and it was that scene. And I've told this story before, but I'll tell you, 20 years in, 25 years in, I don't know how long I've been doing this. I know you've been doing it longer than I have, but maybe 2 other times, but nothing like this. I read those sides. I still remember it being, 25, 26, reading those sides. And I was like, just all I could think was, I just can't wait to get in the room.
Yeah.
And we had a process and they taught technique and they really, like make the back choice, the backstory and do all this stuff. But I read that and I was like, I know this guy.
You know who he is.
And I know this scene and I know what he's doing and I know the hero he is. And it was inferred. It wasn't written on the paper that he was going to die. It was very vague. There wasn't a lot of backstory, nor did I have the script, Katee. I didn't know how big this was going to be.
That's right. A lot of the Canadians didn't get the script.
They didn't give a shit. All you guys were doing tests down there. You had the script. I remember I've talked to everyone in the cast about the stories. So I didn't have anything. There was nothing. The synopsis was very vague, but it was like same story, Battlestar Galactica. So I got the sides and I read that scene and I was like, let me in the goddamn room. Like, I can't wait to get in the room. And it was days away, but I didn't even, all I did was just memorize it. I just knew instantly that I didn't have to make choices.
Yeah.
I was like, it's there. It's like, it's that understanding you have instinctually. There was one of those ones, and I knew, but I made the choice that, you know, to him, Hilo was probably going to die from the wound, but he wasn't going to show her that because he was wounded in a way. And I made the choice of the wound being somewhere different because the script wasn't clear about it.
Yeah.
And so if it was even written, but I was like, he's wounded and he's that guy. And I have siblings, you know, I have younger sisters, you know how close I am to them. I would do anything for them, anything. I would give my life in a second for them. I was raised in a way, you know, revering women in that way and raised in a way that there's a lot of aspects of Hilo. He was much more of a moral character than I am, but like there's very similar qualities in us. And it was just, you know, we don't have to get too spiritual about this, but I truly believe like the universe willed that character for me. It was written for me because I knew it. I was like, this is mine. So when I went to the audition, all the usual suspects that I was used to.
Of course.
You always do, right?
We always see the same people in every room.
And you remember back in the day, we sit there and we listen to them perform.
Oh my God, you could hear them through the door.
It's the worst. And you know that. And you know you're going to go and everyone's going to listen to you. And whether you're confident, you had a good read or not, you've got to come out with the whole process.
Do you remember walking out of rooms though? I would walk out of the room, even if I didn't think I did well, with such an ego to make them think
you had to. It's a game.
Because then you could throw them off.
It's so competitive. It's like sports.
I
it's
loved
psychology.
It.
Oh yeah, I used to get into
that
it too.
Shit. It used to,
you got to come out with swagger.
Something about it. I was like, I would sit in that waiting room with such confidence just to throw those bitches off.
Oh, you had to. It's so competitive.
And I mean it with all the love in the world. But like, that was, and they were doing the same thing.
They were doing the same thing. People would try and screw you up. They'd be like, hey man, trying to talk to you while you're running lines clearly. Like, hey man, what's going on? How you doing? Stuff. Right before you go in, you're like, oh, you're trying to shook me.
I know,
you're doing
right?
this on purpose.
They'd be talking to the person next to them about the job that they just finished that they know that you also auditioned for and didn't get, to throw you off and be like, oh my God, that's the person that got the job. I mean, like, it was awful.
It's terrible the things we did, but that's how competitive
so
it is.
You knew it was yours.
So I and not even so much that I knew it was mine, but I was like, I could do this performance. So I went to the audition and I saw all the usual. I went in and signed in. I saw everybody sitting in the room, and I walked right back out of the room.
Yeah.
And I didn't even let them know. I just sat outside and I sat on the floor and I was so in the place. And I remember this guy coming up with like white hair and these like cool shades, and he looked like he just freshly smoked a joint, which he may have, which he may have. And that man was Michael Reimer. Turned out to be Michael Reimer, right? Came up the stairs.
Of course he smoked a joint.
Yeah, he came up. Brilliant man. I love him. So much respect for that man. And he's in large part the reason our show was so successful.
100%.
So he comes up and he stops on the stairs and he looks at me. And I look at him. We didn't say anything for a second. It was really honest and interesting moment. And he goes, hi. And I go, hi. And he goes, huh. Oh. And we had this moment.
But that's what Michael Reimer does.
That's what he says.
He is in his mind.
Yeah.
Putting the wardrobe on you.
I think so. I think it was a moment.
Putting you in the place and going, because he's got the movie in his head.
Yeah.
And he's like,
he really is a brilliant, like, visionary.
Oh yeah, you could fit.
Yeah, and maybe that was it. But we had a moment. We just had an honest moment. We didn't speak. We said hello. And then we gave each other a huh. And then he walked in. And then they called me. I heard them through the door, like, Tahmoh, like they were calling for me. And I was like, okay. And I walked in with swagger, a whole lot of confidence, because I knew I was going to do my thing and I was made for this role. And I slayed that first take, the audition. And he was like, wow, that's really interesting. Because I made some choices, Katee, that weren't really on the page. Yeah. And again, it was like, it was the stakes of it all. And the fact that he might die. I just had some different stuff going on. And I made the choice that this guy loved this woman more than he loved anything in the world. Like he was in love with her. He loved her so much that it hurt. It pained him. And
that wasn't on the page.
That wasn't on the page at all. They were just partners. They didn't put that there. But I made that choice, and I made the choice that even though he knew he was going to die, this was the right thing to do. And he was going to do everything he could to make sure that she shouldn't worry. Like, it's going to be okay. I'll be okay. You just got to go. You know what I mean? And so I did that scene, and it was amazing. Like, and I say that with all humility, but it went really well. And then Reimer's like, "Wow, it was excellent. And do you want to try something else?" He goes, "Let's try this." And he said, "Can I ask you a question? Like, why did you do that?" And I explained the choices I'd made. And he's like, "Oh, that's really fascinating. Okay, well, let's try this. We tried one more time. And he's like, thank you. And then I left. And Katee didn't hear the first day, didn't hear the second day, didn't hear. But the fourth day, I was like, didn't go my way. But you know what? It was the only time in my young career where I was like, it really sucks, but I know that I killed that audition.
Yeah.
So I'm just not the guy. And I was like, okay. 8 days later, I found out. 8 days later. And I remember finding out. And again, had no idea the level of this show, how big it was going to be, who was involved.
Yeah.
Edward James Olmos, Mary McDonald. Had no idea. But finding out that I got it, I was like so happy. And even while we shot, if you remember, I thought I was coming to an end. We did that miniseries. It was a blast. We were having a great time. Michael kept adding me to scenes. Remember, he put me in the car playing scenes. He's like, he added me to scenes that weren't written in the script because he's like, Hilo needs to be here. Let's get him in there, which was great. And we worked together for 3-4 months. Beautiful summer in Vancouver. We had a blast. But for me, it was done. While I was doing that show, I booked a Canadian cop series. So for me, I had the confidence too. I was like, I get to die the hero.
I'll be fine.
I'm going on to another series. I'm a new regular on it.
Yeah.
So I was just good, man. I was loving life.